The Maine House of Representatives has voted down a bill that would help create passenger rail service to Bangor. The bill, sponsored by Senator Joe Baldacci, instructed the Northern New England Passenger Rail Authority to seek federal funding and assistance to formally recognize and develop a passenger rail line from Portland through Lewiston, Auburn, Waterville, and Bangor as an intercity passenger rail corridor. The House voted to not pass the bill by a vote of 82 to 63. The bill still faces another vote in the Senate, where it did pass last week.